Welcome back to the channel, boys. Fabulinski's coming at your neck with an endgame Phoenix protocol build. Now with this build, you're gonna have your Well of Radiance so often you can honestly just use it whenever. I mean, not whenever, like when there's no enemies, but if you feel like, you want to pop it because there's a decent amount of enemies in the field, boom, go ahead, you're gonna get it back almost instantly. So let's go ahead and break it down. So obviously for my subclass of choice, we're using Attunement of Grace, which is the Well of Radiance subclass. Right here, you put the sword in the ground, it creates a healing field. You guys already know what it does. And we're rocking solar grenades with a healing rift. We're just going straight healer build with this. The solar grenade is my favorite grenade because it just looks cool, and plus it stays around for a little bit. So any enemies that are in the area are gonna burn and just die. So this is my favorite grenade out of all of them. You can also probably get some usage from the fusion grenades as well. Now, since this is an endgame build, of course my loadout consists of Izanagi's and my bad boy right here, which I just made a video of it. And by the way, I said that I was gonna make a chromatic fire build with that, but after looking at chromatic fire, I kind of realized that it only works for kinetic weapons. So I tried it out in the nightfall and it wasn't that powerful. I really didn't feel like I was getting that much usage out of it because I was using Izanagi's mainly to burn down the champions. So really didn't turn out how I expected, but maybe there's another way I can do it. I'll just have to do some thinking and some theory crafting. And of course we're running Falling Guillotine for the boss and for any other void shields. We're also rocking the rainbow, so we get the solar subclasses. So if there's any solar shields, I can throw my grenade. We got an arc hand cannon and a void sword. So I have the rainbow right here. It's very useful for the nightfalls where there's all kinds of shields in it. As for my stats, we got 45 mobility, 22 resilience, we got 80 recovery and 67 discipline. This right here is what I was going for, the highest amount of each, because recovery allows me to get my rift back, my healing rift back as soon as possible. So right now it's on a 51-second cooldown, which is pretty useful because the more healing you have in a nightfall means less deaths and more protection for your teammates. And then having 67 discipline is good because I am rocking the rainbow. So if one of my teammates isn't rocking a solar weapon, or there is just a threat on the field that has a solar shield, I can go ahead and use my grenade and get it back relatively fast. Is on a 51-second cooldown. I have 39 intellect and 28 strength. Now the intellect doesn't really matter in this situation because I'm going to be rocking Phoenix protocol paired with energy converter. So I'll just break that down in a second, but honestly, intellect, having high intellect really isn't that important in this build. Of course you don't want like 1 or 0 intellect, but I have 39. Of course if I masterwork something I could get this to 41, but I didn't want to waste the materials on that. So let's start with the helmet here. We're rocking concussive dampener. Now if you haven't seen the video I put out on that recently, check it out because this mod is very, very good. And when you stack it, the more it stacks up to 55%. But I'm not gonna say any more on it. Just check it out. It is very useful in the endgame content. We're also rocking special ammo finder because I am using Izanagi's and I'm not on a void. The affinity of this armor is not void, so I just have to rock special ammo finder. And then we got charged up, which allows me to have 1 additional stack of charge with light. On my arms, there's nothing crazy. We just got a recovery mod just to increase my cooldown. Decrease my cooldown of my rift. And then we got taking charge, so whenever I pick up an orb of light, I get charged with light. I'm using all masterworked weapons, so it makes sense for me to use that. Whenever I get kills, I'm going to create orbs of light. Plus, whenever my teammates use their super, or if they're rocking masterworked weapons, it's just going to be really beneficial. I'm going to become charged with light very quickly and very often. And for my exotic of choice, which is kind of what this build is revolving around, Phoenix protocol. Now this, and plus I got this sick ornament for it. Like here's what it looks like normally. Ugly, well not ugly, but definitely not as sick as this. Like that is just amazing. That little phoenix right there, oh man, sick. But anyway, so the perk that comes in this armor is Battle Hearth. Kills and assists you make while standing in your Well of Radiance return super energy, and it's a very slow generating super recovery. So when you have your well out and you pop the grenade just to get the energy converter mod going, you get about 50% of your super energy, and then the rest like you get about 25 to 30% more from standing in a super. So you're almost at like 80% of your super energy, and then just get a couple more kills, pick up a few more orbs, and boom, you have it again. So this one is very, very strong if you want to have your well consistently. On for the mods, we're running concussive dampener. Again, like I said, is very powerful. Stacking it is just so good. We're having enhanced unflinching rifling because I hate missing my Izanagi shot. I feel like I always miss whenever I don't have this on. And then we're running counter charge because I'm using this in a nightfall, so being able to become charged with light whenever you stagger, disrupt, or pierce a champion's barrier is just very useful in my eyes, and honestly it makes sense because there's a lot of champions, so I can become charged with light very often. On my legs, we're rocking a discipline mod. We're running double enhanced sword scavenger, so that way I can get, you know, almost the max amount of sword ammo I can get. I don't have sword ammo finder on, so whenever a heavy drops, you're just gonna get the most value out of it. And then we're running supercharge, so that way I can have an additional 2 stacks of charge with light, allowing me to have 5 stacks of charge with light, which is the maximum. So whenever I use energy converter, I'm actually getting 50% of the super energy, so that's half of it. It's pretty amazing, honestly, especially paired with Phoenix Protocol. And on the Warlock Bond, we got a discipline mod again. We got better already, so that way my health regenerates as soon as I pick up an orb of light. Health regeneration in this nightfall this week was pretty slow, so using this was pretty good. And then we got perpetuation, so whenever I use my class ability, meaning my rift, I get some energy back on that. And then we got energy converter. You guys already know this is probably my favorite charge with light mod. So whenever I use my grenade and I have stacks of charge with light, I get super energy back up to 50%. So since I have 5 stacks this time, I'm going to be getting 50% of my super energy, and then making up for the rest of the super energy is going to be Phoenix Protocol. As you guys can already tell, I'm going to have my super a lot of wells, a lot of protection for my team, and a lot of safe areas, more damage buffs going around. It's just going to make the nightfall very easy. I think I was able to do it in 12 minutes with this build. So 12 minutes is just crazy fast for a nightfall, especially 1080 nightfall. That's the fastest I've ever done. Let me know what your fastest time is in the comments below. So I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised by the way this build worked. You know, if you just pay attention to my super bar down below during this gameplay, you'll see that as soon as I pop my well and I throw a grenade, it consumes all 5 stacks of charge with light, giving me that 50% boost in super energy. But then, you know, as I get kills, it starts adding up, and I get just around 75 to 80% of my super energy. And then all you need is a couple orbs of light and a few kills, and bang, you got your super again. Extremely valuable in the endgame content because, of course, it heals you, makes you do extra damage, which is another thing I want to talk about. Just because Well of Radiance isn't a ad clearing super, you know, it enables you to use your ad clearing weapons such as my Nation of Beasts with Outlaw Dragonfly. I just made a video talking about how good it is, and using this build allowed me to actually get the full potential out of it. You know, there's a lot of times where I make super builds and stuff like that because I want to focus on the ad clearing ability of the super. But I forget that some of these other supers like Well of Radiance or even Titan Bubble to an extent, because Titan Bubble does block damage. But as for Well of Radiance, there's no bubble or anything blocking your damage. So if you have Outlaw Dragonfly on a hand cannon or a submachine gun, auto rifle, or whatever, you can actually get the full capability out of it. Especially if you throw a Dragonfly spec on it, you can do some serious ad clear. Not to mention that this thing is also very valuable for, you know, killing bosses at the end of the nightfalls, or for raids when you gotta do boss damage phases, or just to save your teammates and give you guys a good protection and healing ability. There was a lot of times where I would pop my super not when you would necessarily expect someone to pop it, just because I know I was gonna get it back so fast that it really didn't matter, and it helped me, you know, complete the nightfall extremely fast. I got my fastest run in the nightfall. You did it in 12 minutes. 12 minutes is just actually insane for a nightfall. Usually if you're speed running, you're probably gonna get around like 16, maybe 15 minutes, but 12 minutes is the fastest I've ever done. So I was actually really happy with this build. Typically I like to run ad clearing supers, but I might have to start breaking this one out a little bit more. But if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. It truly helps me out a lot. You can also check out my other videos, links are in the description below, and you might as well follow my social media. I have a Twitter and an Instagram, both at @fan_balloonskis. But with all that being said, deuces.